Welcome back to the Tapes Archive podcast, where we release interviews that have never been heard before. In this episode, we are doing something a bit different. We have found a gem of an interview from 1978 with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. To be clear, Marc did not do this interview, but we could also not find it publicly available. After listening to the conversation, we felt it was too good not to be released. At the time of this interview, Ackroyd was 26 years old and Belushi was 29. In the interview, they talk in depth about their two upcoming films, The Blues Brothers and Stephen Spielberg's 1941. Also in the interview, Belushi reveals how he came up with the samurai character he played on Saturday Night Live, and Ackroyd tells where he found the inspiration for the SNL skit, The Coneheads. This conversation is jam-packed with SNL-related insights. If you'd like to support the show, please like, follow, and subscribe to us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. There, we post other content and information not available on the podcast. If you'd like to read the transcripts for any of our episodes, please head over to our website at thetapesarchive.com. We'll jump into the interview after a quick word from our sponsors. The Tapes Archive is proud to be sponsored by the true crime documentary Dead Man's Line.
You've got 100 armed officers around here trying to get a shot at me. I dared them to shoot me. I didn't go down there to be a buffoon. I went down there for vengeance. And by God, I'll have vengeance.
In 1977, Tony Kuritzis kidnapped a mortgage broker and held him captive for 3 days. For the first time ever, the media was able to cover the event live. To some, Tony was a hero. To others, he was a crazed thug. Dead Man's Line, the true story of Tony Kuritzis.
This award-winning film is available exclusively on Amazon Prime. One last thing before we get to the interview, the Tapes Archive podcast is a proud member of Osiris Media, a global community connecting passionate fans with podcasts and experiences about artists and topics you love. Thanks for tuning in, and now it's time to open the vault.
There's going to be a Blues Brothers movie, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You're writing it?
I'm writing it as we speak.
Sweet Home Chicago.
Is this the script for it?
This might
well,
be,
this is kind of a basis in it. Well,
we just want to get everybody who's out there. We want to get Luther Allison. We want to
make the movie.
Sun Seals, man. We want to get
the guys who are still around. What happened? Well, we could go on and on.
Really? Just to do bits in the movie where they play they play either guys who are holding down day gigs or who play the blues at night, and who are we envision a scene maybe if Ray Charles would do it where he's a blind pawnbroker and we go in, we need an electric piano because we're going on the road and we need this piano, and it's blind. and we try to rip him off, but there's no way he's going to let us steal anything, and he demonstrates a piano and he can play a tune, do a number on the piano. So the movie hopefully will have salt and pepper like that all through.
Get on the Right Track, Baby, stuff like that, or Lonely Street, all these great tunes. Ray Charles was a great inspiration to us when he did our show. He said stuff like,
that was a good show.
Hypness,
He did some great sketches on that show.
He's
too, right?
wonderful.
He did. He really did, man. I mean,
he is great. He learned all of his lines in one morning, and we were reading about cards on Saturday.
Yeah.
Here's this blind guy knew his lines that we were.
That was amazing, and plus
he said never go faster than the music. Never get there before the music gets there. A lot of people tend to play blues too fast.
And
he just said, "Don't worry, he'll keep going at it."
For that show, Lorne Michaels and Howard Shore decided to get together his old horn section and the Raylettes. So they hunted and flew them all in. I think they got everybody.
Yeah, Fathead knew it. Everybody.
And they played they played behind him for the show.
Do you have favorite shows? Are there standout shows in each of your minds? Favorite? Are there little gems that stand out in your mind?
Every show, every one of those Saturday nights has got like a real turkey or a couple of turkeys in it and a couple of gems. So
we don't hit.
You tune in. You don't hit every sketch. You don't hit every week.
Yeah,
but it's usually worth checking it out, flipping back to once in a while.
I'll tell you what. It takes about 6 shows to get our stride,
into a new season. You mean 6 shows into a new season?
Sure.
Yeah,
every year people say, well, we didn't have it yet last year, because you go from week to week. You judge it from week to week. I used to get real depressed. I think, oh God, who we got on the show this week? It's Turkey. And we do it best. The writing's weak, and we go and do it, and it's a terrible show, and everybody wants to kill themselves after the show. Everybody wants to
And then
quit,
people run up and say,
and then the next week, people say, hey, that was great.
That was good.
And the next week, we'd have a show, and it'd be great. And we all say, oh, we have a great show. You can't tell.
We just do the best we can, in the live situation, that's all we can do.
The critics can say whatever they want. I don't really
at this point, they're going to have to hose us out of the building to make us leave. They're going to have to throw me right off the job because
I want to show. They say leave the show, do this. Why should I leave the show if I like doing the show? It's hard.
Is it still
but you don't
fun?
leave something because
it's still fun after.
Sure.
On
air, once it gets on the air, once you're on live, it's a lot of fun.
It's fun while I'm on. It could be no matter how mad I get during the week, or crazy, or when I quit. When that show goes on live, I'm smiling the whole time.
How democratic is the process of Saturday Night Live? By that I mean selection of guest hosts, selection of musical
everybody
artists.
Everybody says yes or no. Everybody pitches in yes or no.
It's a pretty. You put it and you put down the heavy.
So it's pretty much a whole group process.
Oh yeah,
as much as it can be.
It's like a family. It really is. It really is. It's not like some of those mills in Hollywood where the writers are isolated from the performers. The scripts come out and they're delivered by messenger 23 blocks away to the studio, and they come in and the cast looks them over, and the writers don't have any process or say. On that show, every writer, if he chooses to, can produce his own piece.
Right.
Go out there, and that's what Lorne Michaels has done. He's given everybody, he's saying, listen, these are the facilities you can learn how to produce if you want.
That's what we did with the Blues Brothers. I mean, we said we got the contract to do it. Then we would do just what we want to do. We do what we want to do. Like if anybody suggested, well, we want to do this song, I'd listen to everybody. We listen to who to get for the group, what group to get, and say yes, and then go and do what we wanted to on our own. You can't be forced to say you have to make a single.
We had a meeting.
Either we've got the goods or we don't have the goods. You do what you do. You can't try something.
But on a particular show, isn't time allotted to each one of you? Because everybody gets a spot.
Oh, you mean on Saturday Night Show?
On Saturday Night Show. On Saturday Night Show.
It depends how it's written. It depends who gets what and how the writers feel who can do the best job in whatever scene.
Sometimes I like to do as little as possible because it was last year I was flying back and forth to the movies and I just said, please don't give me anything.
But this season you've been doing quite a bit on the first bunch of shows.
Yeah, they've been throwing me in there.
Oh, sure.
People who are into
barbed wire,
into Saturday Night Live are so into it. I mean, and there's a tremendous fascination not only with the show but with the whole process of live 90 minutes every week. I think most people are aware that it's a tremendous it's just a tremendous undertaking.
I would not do television if this was live.
There's no way.
The slime prime time stuff is not for me or for us. We don't do that stuff. Live TV is exciting.
There's a risk there.
Tape TV is not exciting.
Risk.
A live album is exciting to do. A live show is exciting to do, exciting to hear. That's why this album is exciting.
So I guess people pretty well know that we're, that he's Jake and I'm Elwood. I know these are the characters, the alter egos we take on, Because the whole thing is a theatrical thing. We come from a background of, we worked in Second City, which is an improvisational theater school. I might say it's a school because it teaches you how to write on your feet. We used to go out, the process is very simple. We do a set show and then go out and improvise after that. Is go out to the audience and one actor would go out and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do some off-the-cuff scenes. Give us an occupation. Some guy yells out, lawyer. Okay, give us a place.
A bathroom.
Bathroom in a bus station, So then we proceed to do a scene about a lawyer in a bathroom of a bus station.
Can I try it with you now?
No. Okay. Those days are past.
Okay.
There were...
Okay.
Those are...
just asking.
Because you can die. You can die if you improvise,
Improvising. See, that allowed you... at Second City, they expect you to fail at about half the time.
But the thing is, it taught us how to wear hats and glasses and to work with costumes and to be... uninhibited, So, really, it's a theatrical thing. Like Greek theater has the mask, Well, the Blues Brothers have the shades and the sunglasses.
And the soul patch.
And the soul patch and the suits. The suit is important. It's a uniform, and without it, the act would be nothing.
I'll tell you how the suit came about. The idea for the suit.
The dark suit, the black tie.
I put this character called Shelley Bayless.
On a piece a couple of years ago. Called Beatnik Cafe.
That character, I don't know.
It was
the minor thing I did.
We did this Beat Cafe. That's right.
I played the most paranoid comic in the world.
Yeah,
Now, what happens with a lot of the paranoid comics and paranoid jazz musicians in the 50s, were that a lot of them were shooting speed. Like Lenny Bruce type guys, and So
they wore shades.
No, they wore shades, but they wanted to look inconspicuous because they didn't want to.
And straight. They wanted to look straight. So they wore suits.
They wore suits. They wore black suits with black ties and white shirts. They made them look like insurance men, hoping that they wouldn't draw attention to themselves.
Interesting.
And they'd wear these black hats, and they always wore sunglasses day and night. with these little soul patches on their lip.
They blew their cover with it.
So they thought instead of so they draw attention. It'd be 1 o'clock in the morning. They had these dark shades on. So it basically looks like a 50s hipster junkie.
Yeah, but it also could be the Blues Brothers also with the suits and the car they drive, which is an old Dodge Police Interceptor. They look like cops. They look like hitmen. They look like chauffeurs, like limousine chauffeurs with the dark suits.
They look like rabbis. Some guy thought
they look like Hasidics.
Hasidic Jews, right?
God, I mean, there's so many dimensions to the costume, but the fact is that the simple thing is that Jake and Elwood aren't any of those things. They're just like musicians. It's like. They may look threatening or straight or heavy, but they really just want to play the music.
How some of the characters come about, the more famous ones of you people? Like the Coneheads, was that born in a writer's meeting?
It was born in Danny's brain.
Born in your brain, Danny, huh?
Well, I mean, the Coneheads, I was intrigued by video, by the fact that most screens are a certain height, and people, people's heads are a certain height on the screen, and I figured, why not fill up, another 3 or 4 inches there, on a 21-inch screen. So I'm fascinated with circus pinheads. I don't know. They're like they suffer from oxycephaly, which is it's a form of water on the brain. Okay, and in France, at certain times there were roustabouts that were pinheads that were like mentally deformed and a little simple, but they were very strong. And they would move the machinery and move the equipment and move the circus around and put up tents and stuff. As well as being in the freak shows. So basically, I thought, what if it's because they're beautiful looking, at least I think so. I figured, why not, get these beings happening on television, give them the little capes they used to wear in the French circus exactly, have that look exactly, and just, put them from another planet. So originally, Tom Davis and I were going to do this thing, cruising cones from outer space, where these guys come down and try to pick up these girls in a convertible, and a big out-of-production scene that just couldn't have been possibly produced. And Lorne Michaels said, no. Take the Coneheads. They look so strange. Put them in a suburban living room. Make them a completely normal kind of family. So that's where Beldar's speech comes from.
People of Earth, we were sent here to establish a protoid fueling station on this planet, but I forgot my speech, He
forgot the speech he was supposed to give over the loudspeaker at the UN when he landed his saucer, and they crashed their saucer into Lake Michigan.
They just kind of hung up here.
Well, they're hung up. They're stuck on the planet. They get these communiques. Nobody's going to help them. It's tragic.
Where did But No come from?
I have no idea. I'll tell you what.
Really?
I was doing it. I wrote one time, and I put it in one time during the editorial. And the next time I did one, I was working backstage writing it with Brian Doyle Murray, one of the writers who I worked with at Second City, who's now on our show. And I was writing it out. I was backstage, and I wrote the thing and finished it, And he said, "Don't you do that but no thing?" I said, "What?" He said, "No." He said, "Don't you do but no?" I said, "When did I do that?" He said, "You did it last time on the show." I said, "What do you mean, but?" You mean like, you go, "But no." I go, "But no, that thing?" I said, "I don't remember." He said, "Well, put it in here somewhere." So he stuck it in, I said, "Okay." Boom, I stuck it in, and the next time I did it, I said, "But no!" And God, I got a reaction.
You see, it's rhythm, because Steve Martin's thing, "Excuse me, but no." It's like it's a rhythmic thing. It's like a key that people can go, that makes sense, and they can say it.
I didn't know.
And it just connects with whatever that place is that makes you laugh. It stimulates it, for whatever reason.
I know where the samurai comes from.
Where?
Well, I saw it on television one time. I saw it to Sharon Mifune in Censorship, and I had never seen a samurai movie. And it was just before I was on the Saturday night show. I was watching it. It was at Channel 13, educational station in New York. It was showing samurai, Japanese movies. And one week they showed Sanjuro 3 times. So I just happened to have it on, and I looked at this guy, and I went, "Oh my God," it was Toshiro Mifune. And he's going, "What you do?" and doing all this stuff that I couldn't believe in it. And the sword fighting was fabulous. I was watching it, and then it came on again, and I watched it again, and I was fascinated. So I was watching it, I was going, and like I turned up, I watched how he walked and stuff. It was funny, and
Plus, there's an amazing physical similarity when he puts his
so I would like.
Did you see it? Did you see when you're watching the thing on television? You could almost kind of see yourself in the car. No, nothing.
No
like
way did I think I could do that. I didn't know. So I just got doing it around the house, like
you grab your hair like in a fist.
I grabbed my hair like this, but like I would take his broom, this broomstick that we had in the house, and I'd stick it in my belt, and I'd sneak up on my wife, and I go, scare her and stuff, and I start talking to her and knocking at I didn't know what I was talking about, what I was doing. I go to my cats, with a sword, and I didn't know what was going on. And so when I went into audition for Saturday night, I didn't want to go and audition with something that everybody knew, so most of my friends were there auditioning. So
it was a cattle call. You wouldn't believe. There were hundreds.
There were a lot of people who came in, but when I went in for mine, like 50 people came in the room to get me on the show. I mean, I had a lot of good friends who helped me.
Oh, so Samurai predates Saturday Night Live?
Just barely, yes. But I mean, I didn't do it in any other shows. So I walked in there, and they didn't know what I was going to do, and they were hoping that I would show this producer who didn't like me, Lorne Michaels, was not nuts about me. I had what you call a bad attitude, about TV, and so I was kind of a punk, as an, this is not very good, but I'll do your show, and I was that kind of attitude, I said, I'll let you have me on your show. I was the worst way to try to get a job. So I went in and I just. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I'll do about 4 minutes, this thing. And I brought my robe. I put this robe on. And I took my shoes and socks off. And I had this ballet bar I stole from this rehearsal studio. Those little round poles. And a rubber band, I put my hair up, and I stuck this thing in my robe. And I turned around and went, Wee-lie! And I started just walking around the room with this pole. And it was real.
They loved it. They
hired me. That was it.
But we were the last two to get hired for that show because they weren't sure. We had reputations of questionable dependability and
violence and.
What was your reputation?
Well, I sort of like to slip between the raindrops, as it were, and there was a reputation that I wouldn't show up for gigs, and that I sometimes said I'd be there and wasn't there, and
you were crazy, Danny.
And that I was crazy, and that no one quite knew what to expect next, and I know how to disappear and appear fast, and this kind of puts people off, So they weren't sure, I was kind of like the amoeba that they couldn't pin down, and when you do put your thumb on them, they slip out from under you. So, Lorne had to talk me into it, It was...
Yeah. So how many people auditioned, did you say? 50?
Oh, no, there were hundreds of people. I mean,
really?
Yeah.
For how many jobs?
For a week. There was a week.
For how many jobs?
For the not ready for primetime players. For the 7.
Was that the number in his mind?
Repertory company he wanted.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And going on 4 years, out of the 7, there's only been, one change. Right?
That's right.
One drop
Chevy Chase, so now you're 6.
That's right.
No, Bill Murray came in.
Oh, and Bill Murray came in after Chevy left, right.
Bill Murray was almost in. He was like the 8th guy.
See, we all knew each other. Gilda and Billy and Brian, his brother, and I'd all worked together up in Canada. And John had worked with Gilda and Bill, and we all knew each other. And it was basically, I guess, Lorne just had to look around for other talent, and then finally grab the people he knew were ripe and ready to do it. And we went to school. We knew what we were doing, and we were established and ready to handle a live environment because of all the shows we'd done at Second City, and plus our ability to think on our feet, to come up with material, dialogues, relationships, and
act. You have to learn how to act.
You have to learn, yeah.
You have to learn how to act. You have to learn how to do impressions. You have to learn how to sing.
Everything.
You have to learn everything if you want to be in this business. It's not
the Second City audition, in fact, and it's a standard thing. Everybody who does it has to go in They talk to you, and then they say, come through that door and come through as 5 different characters, one at a time, and do 1 minute in each character's voice, mannerisms, okay? And you didn't have to do that? No. Boy, I did. Well, I did.
You were real bad at first, too.
I mean, all this stuff is...
Thanks a lot!
All this stuff is great. Live television, there had have been times over the years where things just went completely off the page and out and somewhere.
Not very often.
Not very often.
I'll tell you what. You don't want to improvise. You don't want to have to improvise, but it's something that's nice.
You got a booth full of technicians.
You've got 5 cameras.
Right.
You've got the other actors.
They want you to be there, and they want the line to be there when they cut. So you can't pull any funny stuff, you know,
like Frank Zappa did.
But you can be ready. You can be ready if something happens.
You can be ready, but you don't blame it on other people. You don't do that.
No, but sometimes it must happen just by accident. Like somebody gets weird. Or
I've
something.
said the F word a couple times by mistake. You know what I mean? But stuff like that. You know, just by mistake. It's nothing.
Well, what's the relationship between Saturday Night Live and NBC and the standards of practices? Is that what they call them?
We have an understanding woman and an understanding man who alternate the duty on the board at Saturday night. Now they sit there, and the writers will put in stuff in the script, and generally they're very reasonable. You know,
they seem to be.
And they sit there, and if the writer, we explain, the context in which something's written, and if they disagree with it and think that, certain words like bulges or head cream or Blowmaster. I mean, I've mentioned hair products here. Really, Blowmaster and head cream. They're hair products, folks.
That's right.
And if she doesn't think they're hair products, or he, the other guy doesn't think they're hair products, well, they'll object to it, and sometimes we lose with them, sometimes we win. And hey, bartender,
I went balling the other night. Started drinking and got I blew each and all my friends,
which means
I had to blow again.
I mean,
and they came up to me and
that he bought them all a drink. That's what the lyric means.
So it really means.
Yeah,
it really means that. They're pretty understanding, It's gone as high as the president of NBC, who's had to hand down a verdict because Lorne takes it that high. He really fights for it.
If you don't fight for it, you're not going to get it.
You won't get it on the air.
You won't get it on the air. So if you just sit there like a lot of shows do and say, oh, well, it's the censors. Well, you got to go to the censors. You got to show them. You got to explain it to them. You got to argue your point, and you fight all the way down the line. They don't just give up. So
are there any really funny fights? I mean, like a story?
Oh, there are wonderful meetings where Lauren is there and the censor, and then the supervisor of the Standards and Practices branch, and then his supervisor, and maybe a vice president of programming, and they're all sitting there, and it's talking about Pussy Whip. It's deciding whether Pussy Whip should be a commercial or not, or what is it? It's like
Pussy Whip was for cats. It was the
the dessert topping for cats. I mean, so
Colonel Lingus.
It's great.
That's right, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's right. So that's what they talk about there. And they sort of adjust their ties nervously and flinch and smile. It's really great.
It's a good fun. It's a wholesome show. It really is. I mean, it's
no way.
It's who cares?
Oh, it is.
You don't like it, turn it off.
That's right. The thing about TV is, so once you buy your set, it's free.
And don't send any criticism, and I don't want to hear anymore.
You don't have to buy, when you watch TV, you can sit there, and the thing is, you can turn it off anytime you like. That's the beautiful thing about it. And you don't have to buy the hairspray and the cheap cars that they're building today that only go 50,000 miles. And one large car company, I might say here over the air, offers as an option a 50,000-mile powertrain warranty that they used to give away in cars 10 years ago. That's what this country's coming to. I don't like it. I'm getting out.
I get the feeling that out of all of the not ready for prime time players, you two are like maybe really close friends.
Yes.
When did you two meet? Do you go back a long way?
Actually, on the show.
We met up north briefly, and backstage at Second City briefly, and I think we did a couple of sets at Second City. That is where we improvised together. And
weddings up there at the time, yeah.
And John, I think he wanted me for the radio show. You wanted me to come down for the National Lampoon radio show, and
that's a record album.
No,
the show.
Yeah,
it was a
syndicated show.
That's right.
Show. It was about 200.
Good humor. And
I was the director of it, and I wanted Danny Honor, and he and Gilda came and Billy came, and I guess we. thrown in the situation we went toward each other as more or less protection, you know. I mean,
yeah, when we were being sort of up for the job and they didn't want us and we weren't sure what was going to happen.
So we kind of
I crashed at his house, you know, and
for about 4 months.
Well, actually, for the first year of the show,
we weren't sure if it was going
almost.
to go on.
I wasn't sure. None of us were sure it was going to go past 7 shows. So, he had a slab of foam there at his place, and you know, it was in the closet, and he rolled it out, and I just bunked in there, you know, and crashed at his place, and you know, the cats picked at my feet at night, and
yeah.
I mean, joys of joys, you know. It was, but it was wonderful, and Judy, his wife, was an angel in human form. I mean,
it wasn't my wife then.
That's right. I guess no, because you just got married. Yeah, but you know, your old lady or whatever. You know, she just treated me fine, like I was a brother, and
we
worked out real
trips,
good.
like, you know, Dan and I would get sick of the show, and we'd get a driveway car, and
you know, like a car you delivered to someone in the West Coast.
You know, we take it and just burn across the country in 3 days with the CB radio just to get away from everything. And then it was kind of, you know, we weren't that well known, you know. Mm-hmm. And we did a couple trips across the country.
We spent a lot of time on the road, and you know,
on the road, you know. And
I think we think alike.
Would that be hard to do now, being as well known as you are? Would it be a hassle wherever you
No,
are?
you just put it to the floor.
Keep driving.
You just don't stop. You don't eat.
Stop. We don't stop. You know, I mean,
that's the essence, you know.
So, like, part of the Blues Brothers comes out when we were on the road. We talk about song. We play music. You know, I get a tape deck and just, you know, crank it up and listen, and that was fun. You know. He'd drive like a madman, and
he turned me on to the Allman Brothers, and I turned him on to Ride of the Valkyries, Wagner, you know, which you'd never heard. As we were sailing across the Nevada mountains, you know, just fantastic. I mean, it was a revelation.
Yeah, I did that in the that one show. Was it the Ray Charles? So listening to great music, where I just
the phonograph. Yes,
the phonograph. They didn't know I was going to do that on the air because I was. See, sometimes you don't know what we're going to do until we get there, until we're on the air. I go, oh God, how am I going to end this thing? And I start riding the Valkyries and go, horses, you know, this and that, and then screaming and going into lines from combat, you know, throwing things, and then there was a stereo, and I don't even know how much it weighed. It must have been 200 pounds, and I finally picked it up and threw it on the ground to end the scene. I said, well, sorry, I didn't know how to end it.
He's an expert at rants. You know, I mean, the update rant that he does.
The rant and the rave.
And then the windmill, where he just whips around in the chair and whips back, you know. The man is extremely durable. And for anybody, if the Blues Brothers, you know, if it stays together, if things work out, and if we come to play whatever town you're hearing our voices at.
In your town.
Yeah, in your town. Yeah, you should try to catch the act, because Belushi, the moves. I mean, really, I mean,
the dances you do.
Oh, I know, but I mean, you know, your flips and everything, and geez.
Wish you could do flips on the radio. It'd be great.
Well, the thing is,
you can hear us dancing on Soul Man. In the middle, they start cheering, and that's because Tanny's dancing. I moved back, you know. Whoa, I can't believe it.
Now you guys are going to make a movie together.
Which one? You mean 41?
1941.
Yeah, that's
Steven Spielberg's new movie. This is just now getting
an acting gig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. Well, there might be a little help rewriting.
I get to play. The nice thing about this, I get to play a P-40 pilot. You know, the World War II planes, like the Flying Tiger.
P-40,
like in all the old World War II.
Yeah,
movies.
I think it had a Merlin V12 engine in it. If I might have been an Allison. Yeah,
Allison, right.
Here in this country.
And then Danny drives a.
I drive an M3 tank, which was a Chrysler product. Well, as far as I'm concerned, any movie that lets me get up on top of an M3 tank and fire a 50 caliber machine gun, I'm going to go and do it.
Fly a fighter plane at straight Hollywood Boulevard.
That's right.
I'm going to do it.
That's right.
Crash in the Grauman's Chinese Theater. I'm going to do it. I don't care about dialogue one bit.
No, sir. That's right. Yeah. And I drive down Santa Monica Boulevard, sort of over traffic, blowing out street lights.
Shira Buffoni's in the movie too.
Let's not give too much of it away, because it's going to be fantastic. It's really going to be wonderful.
It's Spielberg's first movie since Close Encounters encounter.
Yes, it's a definitive. It's the way war movies should have been made back then, with all the language and relationships that couldn't have evolved because there was a strict moral standard happening in the 40s, and it's a look at a frenzied state of mind in 1941 in L.A. because it's based on
Hollywood,
true incidents. You know,
When are you going to shoot this?
soon. This
20th. I don't.
this month, next month.
Wait a minute. How do you shoot a movie and do Saturday Night Live at the
I
same
did 3
time?
movies last year.
Well, you fly in, yeah.
Plus, we did a record, and how do we do it?
Yeah.
It can't be done. If you think about it, you won't do it.
Maybe you better not talk
don't
about it.
It's a robot time. You know, you just turn on automaton switch and.
You're through it.
I'll just ask you, where are they shooting it? That's all they'll
LA.
ask about it.
Yeah,
Lower Alabama.
So you'll be on the shuttle.
Yeah.
We're going to be on that old shuttle at Sky Hop. We're
I had to
talking
do it
about
last
it.
year. I'd fly out on Sunday to Eugene, Oregon. I have to go to San Francisco to Eugene. On Wednesday, I go from Eugene to San Francisco, back to Saturday night, go back, boom, bang. I had to go to Durango to do that. Don't be baited to go see Going South, because I'm not in it much. That's all I got to
Is
say
it still
about
out?
that.
Is it still
I don't know, it
in
might
the
be
theaters?
gone
Or
now. Who knows? Who
I'm
cares?
not sure.
Anyway.
Well, you were don't belittle yourself.
I never
you
saw
looked
the
real
movie.
cute with it.
I
He had a
never
gold
saw the
tooth in his
movie.
mouth.
I
must
just
look
don't want
nice
people
and
to be
chapped.
baited and think that I'm in a
looked
lot of
great.
the movie.
He looked great. He did a decent job. He did his job, and
But there's
you
a
know.
little bit of an exploitation on their part. They did that because they really. Well, Hollywood is filled with a lot of slime, and I'm not going to mention any names.
You know, you should play on this on this show. You should
They've got
play.
ice water going through their veins. Let's face it.
More of our conversation with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi coming up.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Tapes Archive podcast. Please remember you can always find more information about the show and the individual episodes at our website, thetapesarchive.com. Until next time, the vault is closed.